All right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, welcome. Getting started with some Warhammer very shortly. Just letting these players get set here. Yes, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Thomas Claus. We got Zacky Wacky, Bob, who is currently playing here. We've got Bob versus Bears to start. Bears with the pick and ban. So we're waiting for him to get his picks locked in. And yeah, hopefully you all are doing well today. Just going to be doing a little bit of chill streaming. Kind of keep myself occupied today. Hopefully provide some entertainment for you all. Yeah, here we are. Sorry the content's been a little bit slower lately. I'm going to be completely 100% transparent and honest. Haven't been as motivated lately. Like, since the DLC was announced, it was going to be in December. Like, yeah. Kind of killed my motivation a little bit, and I don't know, like, YouTube's just been really slow lately for some weird reason. I don't know why. Usually this time of year it starts picking up quite a bit, but I don't know. Yeah, just, I've had some other stuff going on in my daily life. Haven't really had the time, unfortunately, to record and do such things. I haven't really had the motivation to try and make time. So, it is what it is. There will be more content coming soon, though. I'm going to be doing some more recording today. And yeah, we'll keep it going. Definitely not going to be stopping. But maybe more days off between now and when the DLC comes out. Or I may splice in some other games. We'll see. But let's see what they're getting. Bear's just trying to decide what he wants to ban here. Always give him a house ban of Coast. Oh no, he went for Empire and Dark Elves. Okay. Just as a fair warning, no Nehek November. If you play Vampire Pirates, Vampire Coast, or Vampire Counts, you cannot take Invocation of Nehek. That is a house rule for today, just because it's no Nehek November, and that is actually going to be the house rule for the rest of the month, any events I do. So, hello, yes, no Nehek November started officially. So it is no Nehek November, yes. No Invocation of Nehek, which honestly is a bigger deal for the Pirates than it is for Counts. Counts, you have enough passive healing that it's really not much of an issue at all. Yes, indeed. No Nehek November. It's not really an issue at all for the Vampire Counts. And for Coast, too, you can definitely still win without Invocation of Nehek. Just spam Dance Macabre and summon zombies. You still get some healing. Just take, you know, healing characters, and Coast, still a very strong faction even without that. Same, I would say, for the Counts. You could, I'm not going to do this today because it's a little restrictive, but you could extend it to, say, no Lore of Nehekara for Tomb Kings, because Nehek, you know, Nehekara. So, yeah. Good stuff. We are on the Desert Sands here, so Tomb Kings will be very appropriate, but it's considering Tomb Kings are the least offensive undead, I don't want to give them the most restrictive limitation, because with Vampire Counts and Vampire Coast, it's just the one spell, right? Whereas with Tomb Kings, if you do go full no Nehek November, you actually can't take Lore of Nehekara, right? So that does kind of force you into taking Arcan, basically. Or you could go like Clean and a Light Mage, I guess. It's not a terrible combination. Yeah, it is pretty restrictive, but at the same time, basically just means you can't take Cetra Kratep. So we'll see what these guys bring here, but good to see you all today. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Rockar's faction specifically against the Tomb Kings, so some lizard action today. Yes, yes indeed. Got some more people filtering in. Good to see you guys. Getting our first battle going. Ash Plains, Tomb Kings versus Lizardmen. See what they can do. It's an interesting matchup. Ushabti Greatbows are obviously a pretty big danger here, but at the same time, like, the Lizard Cab is also a deal. Constructs, it's interesting. I would say, if anything, this matchup is slightly Lizardmen favored from my perspective, but I don't know, maybe you guys feel differently. Like, the Lizardmen, I think, have slightly better monsters. Like, they're pretty close. Tomb Kings is probably top 5 monster faction. Maybe, are they, though? That's a good question. It's definitely Lizardmen, I would say, are number 1. Probably number 2 is Vampire Counts, or... yeah, then I'd say Chaos, Norska definitely has 3, and then Chaos probably. Maybe I'd put Tomb Kings at 5 then? I don't know. What do you guys think? We do have a Wild Crocky G. Your wish has been granted. He's here with his Hand of the Gods. Definitely beats up Constructs in this matchup. If he doesn't get too beat up himself. That is, he's got the Star Chamber Guardians to help with that. Some Saurus Spears, interesting choice. Got a couple of Salamander Hunting Packs. These are not the Regiments of Renown. A couple of Feral Cold Ones to try and pressure Ushabti Greatbows in the backline, I'm sure. And it's a Bone Giant build. Double Bone Giant. They're massive, very stiff, erect bows here, just standing upright. And Arcan the Black, so gone in full... Known to Heck November. He did go with Arcana and Light Mage, so this is actually keeping in theme, even though he doesn't have to. Sepulchral Stalker's got a box of spears with some Tomb Guard also, including the Kepper Guard, a couple of Skeleton Horsemen. So let's see if Crocky can break the box. A box build like this, if you just take like 6 to 8 units of Saurus, you can kind of just grind it down, to be honest. But with this more of a monster-centric build, we'll see. Not super monster-centric, but there's not a ton of infantry here. That being said, the Bone Giants do have a lot of targets to shoot at. Like, they've got these Salamanders, they obviously want to shoot Krokar, but there's going to be a little bit of an issue that the Lizardmen can't poke back very hard. Even if they were to have brought the artillery they do have, to be honest, though, like, the Bow Stags really don't do enough damage to trade well. The Bone Giants definitely do way more damage. And the Solar Engine's range is much shorter, and again, they don't do nearly as much damage. The debuff is certainly very strong. The Bone Giants are one of the... probably, I would say, just as a general rule, like, probably, I don't know. What do you guys think is the best monster artillery in the game? I am of the opinion that it's probably the Solar Engine, just as an overall, but the Solar Engine actually loses in a lot of head-to-head fights against other monster artillery. Bone Giants are probably top 3, I would say. They're very good, given anti-large armor piercing damage, massive weapon strength, especially being buffed here. Or not being buffed. Looked like it was for a second. Anyway. Salamander's starting to respond a little bit here to the counter poke. And so far, the Bone Giant's bows have not been super impactful. They have picked off a handful of models of this hunting pack, now making a little bit better contact with the explosion damage on that one. But Arcan the Black gets a nice summon in the front line here. Kohor Sotek are going to get the charge, maybe? No, it doesn't look like they've got their charge bonus, unfortunately. But, yeah, Salamanders, the speed makes it... it's not as much of an issue in this matchup because Tomb Kings are pretty slow. But the range, I mean, obviously the Bone Giants outranging them pretty significantly here. But Feral Cold One's now rushing in. They're trying to get in, probably, I don't know what exactly they have a charge order on, but they are going to get blocked up by the Tomb Guard there. Probably an Overcast Net. That's a lot of Winds of Magic for just 900 points. I guess it is 900 points, but still, that's not actually that much at the end of the day. And Krokar now coming in a little bit late, but no big deal. This Bone Giants are still focused mostly on the Salamanders for the time being, which is not necessarily great, but it's fine by Krokar, to be totally honest. But Salamanders, I think, are the wrong pick here. Personally, in this matchup specifically, I would definitely recommend going even though the fire damage is good on paper against Tomb King's Lords, like, you definitely want the armor piercing of Razordons. It's much more consistent against constructs. But Krokar's now moving in. He's got his Temple Guard as well moving in. Unfortunately, he got some Saurus Spears matched up against the Kepler Guard, which is really not a great matchup for them at all. They got blended pretty hard there, considering the kind of the cost situation. Kepler Guard are a much cheaper unit, but at the same time, the range pressure definitely starting to be felt. Those guys of the desert definitely taking a beating from the hunting packs. The other Temple Guard now moving in on these Tomb Guard here, and this Court of Sotek able to break through the skeletons, get now into this back line. Nice little rear charge here, saturating in to support this engagement, and bathed in fire as well. A little bit of friendly fire, but I'm sure it's fine. Krokar is currently netted in here, and he is taking some damage actually from the Bone Giants and from the Fulcral Stalkers there, but now the Scarvet also moves in. He's going to use his anti-large AP to go after that Bone Giant. Krokar still tanking out reasonably well. Going to go ahead and throw a Flock of Doom from his caster. Didn't even spy that Lore of Beasts skink back there, but he's going to go ahead and throw a Manticore Summon as well. Try and bring up some extra monster presence, pressure these Bone Giants. But this is bad. Eyes of the Desert actually get loose here and are able to fully open up on some volleys on Krokar, do quite a bit of burst damage to him. Now he's getting around, going to refocus on this Bone Giant. Nice little support here with these Feral Cold Ones as well, reasonably cost effective. Meanwhile, Salamanders being targeted on infantry is not ideal necessarily, but the Tomb Guard don't have the best armor. Will take decent damage from the explosion there. It's actually pretty okay. But Krokar is definitely not okay. He is getting focused pretty bad at this point by all these missiles. And yeah, the Bone Giants, it not being able to like consistently tie them down has definitely been an issue. But if Krokar keeps moving, it's going to be pretty hard for them to hit him. Ooh, that was a nice contact, point blank, like right on the edge of the cone too. Very unfortunate for Krokar there, but balance power is still very close, as Lizardmen still have plenty of battlefield presence left with the Saurus. In particular here, the Star Chamber Guardians, I do think it's a bit of a mistake. I mean, the Bone Giants do magic damage anyway, so the Guardian isn't going to do much there. I think actually the Sepulchral Stalkers also do magic damage with their ranged attacks, so never mind. The Guardian really isn't much of a factor here at all. But nice Ushabti summon. The timing of that is really going to hurt, as the balance power is starting to shift against the Lizardmen a little bit there. If they can clean up this front line here, get rid of these Tomb Guard. The Skeleton Horseman Archers also kind of being used to chase units off, but that means they take a bunch of damage here, kind of unnecessarily. But I think Krokar is pretty much done for at this point. Yeah, he's going to get sniped out here, finished off by these Bone Giants as he routes, most likely. Maybe the slope will allow him to get away, but it looks like that Bone Giant's got a beat on him. And Krokar goes down. Sad day. Krokar, honestly, is kind of bad. You know, I hesitate to even suggest this, but if they gave Sacred Spawning of Zodal a small heal, I'm talking like 100 to 300 HP. 300 HP really isn't even much at all, but you gave it a 300 HP component, allow you to use it maybe like 3 or 4 times per battle, so you can maybe heal up to like 1200 HP in total on Krokar, just from that. It would actually make him a lot better. Just unfortunately, he's just not very competitive right now. Doesn't really bring a lot to the table, and in my opinion at least, Saurus Oldblood is just kind of better because he actually has support abilities. But yeah, Cygors are definitely in the top 5 monster artillery. Steam tanks are as well. Personal bias, totally, but steam tanks are actually very good. But yeah, Krokar, he's just so squishy. Like, he's such a target whenever you bring him, because you don't have any way of consistently healing him. Like, back when Cold-Blooded healed, Krokar was actually very competitive, because you could take advantage of his better stats, you know, for longer. But as it is right now, I would say probably you want to go with the Old Blood, just for the support ability. He's not as much of a monster presence fighting, but can definitely juice up, and especially like Saurus tier units, high weapon strength but generally low attack, so giving them that Horn of Kygor especially, quite good there. One-shot Arcan with hand. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the next competitor lined up. Don't have too many people on the list right now, but let's see. Get a Mule's not quite ready yet, so we'll go on few deadly bunnies. And I'll get Gobble Slayer on reserve as well. Cool. Yeah. The Bone Giants are not as common as I feel these days. I haven't been seeing it as much, but it's still a pretty strong pick. Catch you off guard. Like I said, like a stack of Saurus, basically, like you could go like 4 melee Saurus and like 2 or 3 spears. I think that's legal. You could even go 8, I think. I don't know how that build would actually work, but just going like a massive line of Saurus because they just beat all the skeleton units, and they even trade pretty well with Tomb Guard too. Like, actually, Tomb Guard are slightly cheaper. I'd have to check. I don't remember. Tomb Guard I don't think win. It's pretty close if I remember right. I think Saurus, they do have slightly worse melee stats, I want to say. I don't know, though. I'd have to do some comparison. I totally don't remember off the top of my head. Pretty out of practice. Here's the thing, J Phoenix. They used to have the healing, and they removed it. I just want them to bring it back only for Krokkar to make him actually have something that, makes him stand out. Right now, he's, like, again, in my opinion, objectively worse. And my objective opinion, which is, Tomb Guard win versus Saurus because of the heals. Oh, okay. That makes sense, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they're probably not going to have, if you have, that many units of Saurus, like, they're only going to have a handful of Temple Guard, and really, the constructs, like, you can just grind them down if you have enough numbers of Saurus, especially with the right support tools. I don't know, it's an interesting matchup. The Bone Giants are definitely a play. Their slow speed can make them relatively vulnerable. Spirit Leech a dinosaur? Yeah. Well, you can Spirit Leech the Cav. It's pretty cost effective because they're low model count. Let me actually change the map as well, before I forget. Let's not do a Dark Elf map because you can't see anything on those if they go in the forest. And we'll go to Eshin. Nah, it's not spooky season anymore. I'm over it already. We'll do Harryout Ridge. Might as well get that one over with early on in the stream. Oh, yeah. Pick Lizardmen, ban Pirates and Dwarfs, and we're going to see an Empire pick. The Wild Golden Order. Sure, sub-factions are all welcome. Absolutely. Spirit Leech doesn't do enough damage. You're just dumping your Winds of Magic down a hole, basically. Especially if they have healing. I mean, maybe it's okay against Krokkar, but Spirit Leech does, like 300 damage? I mean, against a monster has like 6,000 to 7,000 HP. It's just kind of, kind of peeing in the ocean, if you know what I mean. But it's good versus the cavalry, because the thing is, like, cavalry models tend to have around about 100 HP, so if you can pick off like 3 to 4 cav models per cast, that's actually pretty efficient. And especially given that Lizardman Cav has, only 36 models to begin with, pick off a decent, like 5 to 10% per cast, and that's, suddenly it seems a lot more useful. Spirit Leech is actually an anti-cavalry spell. It's good against some Monstrous Infantry too, although Monstrous Infantry have more HP per model, you may only kill like 1 model with it. Yeah, exactly. Here, it's much more efficient to like cast just other stuff. The light mage with the overcast nets is nets is a bit to overcast. It's like 18 winds of magic. It's pretty expensive, so that was kind of another dump there. But yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's the obvious point, right? You can actually kill the cav models, whereas Armsword doesn't get any weaker as it gets damaged, which definitely is something I think should be addressed. But that's a topic for another time. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted by something on the side here. Yeah, Pterodons is a good one. That's a good example because they have really low HP in total, right? I want to say, how much HP do they have? Like 3,000 or less HP in total. I mean, you're doing like 10% damage per cast, right? And if you just pick off like one or two of the models, that's pretty good, you know? Yeah, that's the typical plays to do that. If you're not bringing Arcan, at least spam Nekar spells for healing. Anti-large, exactly. The physical resistance is quite nice. The more you cast there, the more healing you get, so it's decent. And the anti-large spell is also really good, in my opinion. Very underrated. Overcasting that to give anti-large like to Carrion and then watching them like kill a Manticore or something, it's so satisfying. Tic-Tac-Toe just gets wrecked by, you know, Carrion with anti-large somehow. Yeah, it's probably good for killing Chameleon Skinks too. Yeah, you can pick away Chameleon Skink models, although infantry units, I don't remember. Skirmishers are obviously a little bit less. I don't remember for Chameleon Skinks, but infantry units tend to have a like solid chunk of HP. Basically, like anything with low HP overall, or that you want to pick away from models from. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty fun. I like Tomb Kings. They're the least offensive undead, definitely. Anyway, here we are, of course, Balthazar Gelt, looking like he's leading the way for the Empire. Pretty typical. He's decent against Lizardmen as well. Definitely a solid pick in this matchup, as long as he doesn't get Master of the Skies. We got some Spearmen here. We've got some Flagellants. Empire Knights. Knights of the Blazing Sun as well. Plenty of Pistoliers and Outriders. Definitely approved. Pistolier approved. And on the flip side, we got Saurus Old Blood. So Walmart Krokkar here. He has his support buffs. This is what I was talking about. Exactly this. This one right here, Horn of Kygor. Very strong ability for Lizardmen. Because Saurus, look at this, 50 weapon strength is pretty ridiculous for this cost. This is like a high tier infantry weapon strength. Like even Chosen I don't think have this much. But only 29 attack is really not good for the cost. So if you can give them more attack, obviously, juicing up their melee attack with that Horn of Kygor, it is very, very nice. A lot of you in the chat probably already know this, but just in case there's newer players watching, we've got Javelin cohorts, Spear Riders, kind of in supporting groups, and regular Cold One Riders as well. Mix and match action going on there, and these guys are pretty good against the Empire. They definitely win cav engagements pretty cost effectively. It's like weird, Lizardmen aren't really known for being a strong cav faction, and Empire definitely are. This is one matchup where, specifically because of the interactions of like Cold Ones versus Empire Knights, and even Reichsguard, I would say, like it makes the matchup weird for Empire because they have better cav than you. And let's see what they do. The Chameleon Skinks are going to get revealed pretty early on here by the skirmish tools, but they can actually counter skirmish just fine. They're going to have to be careful not to get run down, but yeah, they'll be able to provide a little bit of poke against these Pistoliers here, and likewise the Javelins coming forward, also relatively dangerous. But look at this, actually, Chameleon Skink's missile resistance not really doing a lot here, as the Outriders are able to get pretty good damage in. Outriders' DPS is actually pretty solid. It only says 26 on the card, but I feel like that's not necessarily right. I guess probably because of the poison. Yeah, 33. Pretty decent. On par with some other armor-piercing missile cab. Not so much as like the axes, but obviously range is much better. Yeah. Pistoliers kind of wheeling across the side here. They did take some Javelin losses there. Happy Javelin Day to the Pistoliers. You can see the Empire Knights also kind of pulling up here. This flank's going to have to be careful. This flank, you can kind of play a little bit more aggressive once you screen these Chameleons and the cohorts. The Knights Blazing Sun, you don't necessarily want them taking the charge. If you can avoid it, they will wreck the Cold Ones on the charge. So let's see what they can do. Flagellant's just kind of hanging back for now, letting the screen happen. Empire Knights trying to bait out the Lizard Cav here, but let's see. It looks like, I'm not sure if they're actually, yeah, it looks like they're going to take that engagement. It's interesting. Balthazar maybe could throw down some support here, change this around. Let's look at his spell loadout. He does have Final Transmutation. This would honestly not be a bad place to use like a single cast of Final Transmutation. Over here, Javelins get some really nice volleys into these Knights of Blazing Sun. Knights of Blazing Sun actually charging the Javelins, which I think is a pretty big mistake. That's going to allow them to now get countercharged by the Cold One Riders. And the Knights of Blazing Sun don't have the best melee defense, so they are going to take a lot of damage from this. Definitely got to prioritize getting their charges. But over here, things are looking definitely equally as bad for the Empire in terms of the Cav engagement. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of the reasons why this matchup can be tough for Empire players, and it's one that I have struggled with at times, definitely. But here, yeah, again, Knights Blazing Sun just getting absolutely wrapped up on the flanks. So really not looking great right now. Issue with Balthazar, it's definitely a fun pick, but he's just really not going to do a lot for you here. He doesn't. If he had used some of his spells there, maybe he could have turned some of those Cav engagements. I don't know. Turned is a strong word, but the Outriders still being online, obviously very, very good here. They're firing in, doing some great damage to those Cold One Riders, so these Knights of the Blazing Sun might be able to extricate themselves. This unit also, yeah. What unit, though, really? These Outriders, actually. Not even a Knight there. Some Knights here getting chased off along with some Pistoliers, so Cav forces for the Empire looking pretty rough. Flagellants now getting engaged on Saurus, which is okay, but the Flagellants will take a lot of damage from that high weapon strength, given they don't have enough melee defense to really avoid taking the hits. But here, yeah, there are some more Knights Blazing Sun here. Okay, that's not too bad. They do get charged by those Spear Riders there. Great one by Bob to just kind of wrap up. And maybe Balthazar doesn't have Plague of Rust, unfortunately, so this Captain also isn't really going to do a lot for you here. I mean, the Plague of Rust, kind of comboing with him, because he has 85 charge bonus, you actually can cycle charge reasonably effectively. But this kind of high-tier fighting monster in the Old Blood, plus the cavalry advantage, it makes it so that the Lizardmen can win mobility pretty decisively. And these kind of, I'm not going to say lower impact, but a little bit, you know, not as strong as, say, Volkmar or Karl. You're just not going to get as much value there. But Final Transmutation being popped here, it looks like a Manticore summon as well. Bob holding that in his back pocket for quite some time, and now unleashing it here in the late game to try and go take out these characters in the air. Final Transmutation, and see, this is kind of the issue, is it does some okay single target damage. You overcast it, you save up to overcast it, but it's really not going to do enough on just one single unit. Like, you really, to get the best value, you have to cast it on a blob. And again, to kind of go back to the discussion that we were having from before about Spirit Leech. Like, you can kill the cavalry models with that Final Transmutation, right? Whereas this guy's model, you know, you have to kill the entire model, right? It's only one. So I would definitely say using that Final Transmutation earlier on in the battle to support those cavalry engagements would have been a lot better use of that, rather than saving it there for, like, the big kind of overcast bunker bust. It used to be a lot more impactful than it is now, which I honestly am fine with, you know, those kind of one-click, I'm not going to say brain dead, but spells that not necessarily the most interactive. Is that a diplomatic way to put it? Yeah, Elector Count's getting pretty shreked on this one, unfortunately. But Balthazar's actually technically a count in the game, but Yeah, he doesn't ride no Griffin. Could you imagine, though, if they did give Balthazar a Griffin mount? I mean, come on. Teclis got a stupid, overpowered Phoenix. And they said that was fine. So how about we give Balthazar a Griffin mount? Because why not? You know, why not? Give the only... It seems very strange, too, that, like, Empire only has one Caster Lord, and it's only Lord of Metal, and he can't take a monster mount. When I get the Empire is supposed to be, like, one of the non-monster factions, but, yeah. Like, you can take the Amber Wizard on a Griffin, but yet somehow Balthazar can't figure out how to ride a Griffin? I don't know. Buff Balthazar. Anyway. Let's see. Okay, let me just go back to my original list here and double check as we get Get Mule in here. Got Deadly Bunnies and Dactyr potentially, and then Gabo Slayer. Also got Malverde. And Minut. Excellent. Excellent. GG. Good game, though. Mantivores, yeah. Manticores are the best. No, literally, they are the best monster in the game. A wild rubber duck appears. What's up? Use quack. It was super effective. I don't know. A gyrocopter for Gelt. There we go. Or how about a steam tank? Like, on legit. Like, not even joking. Because I'm pretty sure this was a thing in 8th edition too, but I know for sure in Age of Sigmar, you can literally take a steam tank general, right? Like, your general of the Empire can take a steam tank mount, more or less. Or rather, I should say that your steam tank can take a character. It's really how it works in Age of Sigmar, but I don't know why that's not a thing in Warhammer. Like, come on, Steam Tank Lords, let's get on it, CA. Because what the Empire really needs is unbreakable artillery lords that are also chariots. Yeah, that's what Empire needs. That's all good. I think I mentioned in the cast, but I think the biggest thing was just not using Balthazar's magic. I think if you'd used it on the Cav engagement, that could have swung things. And I mean, even with you kind of getting bad charges there, like kind of weird charge engagements. But yeah, it was a good attempt. It was a good showcase of like kind of why that matchup is weird for the Empire. I was kind of explaining like the Cav differential and the fact that even though the Empire are probably one of the best Cav factions in the game, Lizardmen are maybe in the top 5. I don't know. But they have like one of the best single cav units in the game, which is Cold One Riders. For the cost, like they just trade so well with enemy heavy cavalry. And like specifically here, 1-for-1, they just beat Empire Knights so hard. Bad. What is the map? Let's go with Oakenhammer. Nice and open. Steam tanks were never mounts. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be that overpowered, honestly. I really don't. And a lot of people might disagree with that, but a lot of people thought the Gabo Great Shaman on the Spider would be super overpowered, but turns out Spiders have bad leadership. And even if you put a Gabo, you know, Lord, he also has bad leadership. So together, they don't get any better. And quite easy to route. And it's also a big target. Like, if you, in some matchups, making your Lord a big target is just bad because they'll get shot to death. But it's definitely a fun pick. Anyway. Steam Tank would be fun. More Griffin mounts would be fun. The Empire, more monsters, basically. Because the meta is still revolving around. It's weird, though. Even though it does, like, the Empire is still such a strong faction. Mostly because they have so much utility spread across. And probably the best low-tier troops in the game. Like, I've been thinking recently I need to do a best-in-class for state troops. Because I think they are legitimately, like, they aren't going to win against all other low-tier troops, but I think they're the most cost-effective for what they give you. Like, just solid all around. They don't stand out great in any one stat. Probably their biggest weakness is lowish armor. 30 is kind of just there. It's not great. They're really kind of bad. Not great mass either, but they're very cheap. And for the cost, like, their melee attack, defense, weapon strength, and leadership are all, like, solid. Super solid for the cost. They just have, like, a really nice stat spread. Well balanced. And, yeah. I'm probably 100% biased. Definitely, I think state troops are the best low-tier units in the game. Dwarf warriors? Yeah. But see, I kind of include state troops, spearmen, and swordsmen together, right? Dwarf warriors are just dwarf warriors. They don't have an anti-large variant. You have a great weapon variant, which is just bad. Like, it's just worse because they don't get any better melee attack. They still have terrible melee attack. They get less melee defense, a little bit of armor piercing damage, but the 80 armor is pretty legit, don't get me wrong. But the dwarfs lack offensive output, which is where, like, yeah, like, if you consider the state troops kind of together, right? And I would consider halberdiers separately just because they're so much more expensive. But, like, probably I would say that, yeah, the state troops are best in class. Peasants are also pretty good, actually, considering the cost. Their leadership is bad. Like, goblins are also very, very good for the cost. Goblins, actually, I might put at number 2, just because 120 models is pretty legit, and they synergize super well with all the buffs you get from Greenskins. You can give them a pretty consistent stream of extra melee attack, and suddenly they're punching way above their weight class. I might go state troops, dwarf warriors, and then probably goblins. Clan rats are okay, but their stats are actually not amazing for the cost. They do have a lot of models, just like goblins do, but they don't have the same kind of stream of buffs. It's more so that you can summon them more than anything. Not peasant mobs. No. Well, I'm talking like men-at-arms. Like, peasant mobs are true chaff. Like, it's like a low-tier infantry. Like, from 200 points to, like, a 250, let's say, like 450, like 475. Kind of that range. Even up to 500. You could maybe include wood elf or high elf spears in that. But anyway, Rubber Duck coming in with a 250 quack. Hey, big thanks, man. I'll quack right back at you. There's the Green Knight to give us a notification, unless I hit him. Oh no, he popped up. Okay. Yeah, if you're talking true chaff, absolutely zombies, like the classic Vampire Count zombies, are number 1. Number 2 is Skaven slaves, because they have weapon variants. And number 3 is peasant mobs, and that's pretty much it for that unit class. There's really only 3 units in that class. Like sub 200, 200 and below, I should say. True chaff units. I think Skaven slaves probably win. I don't know, though. I haven't tested it. They're 25 points more expensive, so they should win. If you get the slingers, then maybe with the leadership damage from the volley plus fighting in melee, then they would win? I don't know. Yeah, Skaven slaves are strong. Peasants are fast. Peasants are very fast at running away. Yeah. But like the low tier troops, Ungors are an interesting one because Ungor spears are very good. Like, I am very high on Ungor spears. Vanguard spears are like super rare in general, and Vanguard, like, charge defense also have stock. Like, their stats aren't great, but they do have 120 models, which is nice. They're probably one of the they might be the best low tier spear just by themselves, but the regular Ungors, the melee Ungors, are pretty bad just all around. Like, there's no reason really to not just bring Gors instead of the Ungors. They don't do anything for you really, but the spears are good. Chameleon Skink. Oh, this is Bob. This is Bob Tresh here. He has gone for a very heavy monster build against the Skaven, which is big. I was going to say big brain play. I don't know that it's necessarily a big brain play. It's a big ball play, definitely. Mazdamundi plus a Dread Saurian, kind of going all in for the monster HP. These are two absolute meat bags, though. Mazdamundi healing himself, like, effectively has, like, 10,000 HP. Dread Saurian literally has 11,000 HP. But yeah, his healing cap space, which he definitely can hit if he uses all of his magic on himself. 5,000 extra HP, so he literally can go up to, like, 1,300. Basically 1,400, something like that. Just some chameleons and pterodons supporting out to the flanks. Ikit, though, oh man. And see, like, this is where Get It Mule suddenly is going to have some issues. He brought a double Doom Wheel, and, oh, you know what, actually? I think I see what he's doing here. These Doom Wheels are not meant to fight in melee. This is the fabled Doom Wheel missile build, right? These Doom Wheels both do extra missile damage. Ikit does triple, and Wheels of Doom does double what normal Doom Wheels would. And we've got a whole bunch of Night Runners, Gutter Runners with poison, and some Rat Ogres. And one unit of Jezzails here, the Natty Bubo Sharpshooters, is for some insurance versus monsters, which they're definitely going to use all of their ammo, if they can. They will, if they can. And they probably won't even kill one of these two, depending on who they focus. But the missile chariots, basically using them like war wagons. Unfortunately, you can't pick who you're targeting. But check this out. You see how Get It Mule's maneuvering them now out, and he's going to keep them within range to try and zap probably these pterodons. Yep, swing and a miss there. Unfortunately, they're not the most accurate, but it can work sometimes. Here, unfortunately, though, it looks like Night Runners, they must have got netted by Mazdamundi, starting to get caught up by Skinks. They didn't actually take that much damage at the end of the day, but they are going to run because they're just Skaven, after all. But yeah, Jezzail's right now focusing on the pterodons, which is understandable. These Skinks also, the Skinks as they come forward are going to take shock damage from the Rat Ogres, and then the Doom Wheels will terrify them away very quickly, so it's going to be an interesting play. But Natty Bubos are going to have to be careful. They quickly are forced to reposition from the pterodons. The pterodons won't do a lot of damage, but just tying them down, allowing the Skinks to catch up with them is really not great. But now Mazdamundi charges in. He's going to break up the Doom Wheels and try and get them out of there. This Doom Wheel, Wheels of Doom here, trying to escape from the cavalry as well. Nice overcast net. Ooh, this is really good placement, though. Going to get both of the wheels here and several of the Gutter Runners. The pterodons then swarm down. Unfortunately, Mazdamundi and the Saurian are not able to really follow up very quickly, and I think wheels are probably going to get away here. Still a decent amount of duration left. Meanwhile, more clan rats being summoned up here. Definitely need some extra numbers to kind of pad things out, as yeah, the kite, unfortunately, was attempted, but it's kind of tricky to do, especially given that Mazdamundi's got some pretty good control tools here, but it looks like he noped out, unfortunately, on that banishment. That was going to be some pretty good placement there, but instead, the Night Runners are just sent packing to the hills here. Mazdamundi, he is going to do some pretty effective charge damage, but both of them, I mean, kind of all of them, I should say, don't have the best sustained combat stats, but the low health, yeah, Ikit Claw also not the greatest leadership in the world. He is going to have some potential issues, and just this kind of missile kite is fun, but I don't think it has enough punch to really deal with a heavy hitter like Mazdamundi. Yeah. Where do those Jezzails go? Check in on the Natty Bubo Sharpshooters. They may be getting chased off somewhere, and this is a little unfortunate. Gutter Runners with poison in particular, relatively expensive unit. Kind of getting way zoned out there over on the side, but Saurian now comes over to start to work on this Plague Priest. He's going to continue to summon up, and Mazdamundi is getting kited here, but the Lizard Cav obviously allows them to push through and just continue to catch the units. Skaven, even with the poison on the Gutter Runners and the Snare Nets, I think probably still can be caught once these Cold Ones get up to their charge speed. The Doom Wheels are kind of reunifying here. They do have quite a bit of ammo still if they can utilize that. Maybe do some Mazdamundi, try and bring the do some damage to Mazdamundi rather, try and bring this back. Yeah, the net's been pretty decisive. And another big net here as he catches Ikit Claw. Ikit Claw is pretty fast, but he can't necessarily always move away. And here, oh, does some friendly fire with that Warp Lightning, but actually does make pretty solid contact on Mazdamundi. I'm surprised how much damage that did to Mazdamundi, considering that was a Warp Lightning. I guess he's just such a thick unit model it actually does catch him up. But a Brass Orb going to be cast here to try and hold up some of those cav. You can see Get It Mule still trying to utilize the ammo as best he can on these Doom Wheels, but this Doom Wheel, unfortunately, is just not fast enough to get away from Mazdamundi when he's got his charge animation. Mazdamundi's not that much fast. He's actually just slightly slower, but he is more tired too, interestingly enough. I don't know. It seems like it probably should be able to get away there. I'm not sure. I guess since the Skinks are poisoning him with their javelins, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, Pterodons are chasing here, kind of getting strung out, and if you can see how, like, this kite, if you'd been able to pick the Lizardmen apart a little bit more earlier on, maybe it would have worked, but against this build, it was going to be tough. Like I said, this is just a lot of HP to have to work through here in terms of monsters. This could be potentially pretty risky against a traditional, like, gun-type build here, but honestly, Mazdamundi plus the Saurian is just so much HP for any faction to have to work through, even a faction with good armor-piercing missiles. It's it's a pretty good one. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it was going to be tough regardless. I definitely like what he's going for here. There's not enough presence. Yeah, just not enough presence, really. GG regardless, though. But anyway, looks like I skipped Golden Eagle because I'm Potato Brain, so we're going to get him in next. And let's see what they can do. Huh, yeah. Yeah, that is a pretty unorthodox build to take against the Skaven, I think. Because, like, the monsters can be pretty risky. Like, if they just shut you down with, like, you know, missiles and stuff. But... blame A-Move Hacker. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see what you're going for there, and I think against a lot of Lizardman builds that they would normally take against Skaven, like that people would normally think to do, I would see how that would kind of catch him off guard, and you could kite him with the missiles. Yeah, they never prepare for it exactly, and the Mazda net combo is, like, so risky. Like, the Mazda Saurian combo is so risky to the missiles that, like, yeah. Yeah, get ready for Crocskull rushes, or, like, maybe some wild, the Pterodons are pretty common, but... I'd be curious to know, Get It Mule, have you tried using, have you tried using the Rattling guns? I'm trying to remember the name. The ROR. I don't know if you would even want to take the ROR Rattling guns, but I would think, I mean, obviously the range of the Giselles is much better, but I would think that the burst and the speed controllability, especially of the Giselles, or the Rattling guns, would be super useful in that build. But let me know your thoughts. I mean, the suppression would give you another slow, basically, is my thought. And not only that, but it has so much burst damage up close for monsters, and for Pterodons as well. But I don't know. Giselles definitely, the Natty Bubos can just stay hidden, in theory, and keep shooting, but... Toothbreakers, yeah, that's what they're called. Something like that. Let's go for... let's do Troll Country. Let's do that. Make it a quick one. Yeah, and the ROR at least has smoke bombs, so you can kind of reposition them, like, what, 3 times without being spotted if you need to. Yeah, good anti-air. Yeah, exactly. Great little flat guns. Yeah, Get a Mule has sent me some other replays that I am going to be casting soon of that double Doomwheel build. Haven't got around to actually posting them on the channel yet, but yeah, it's a fun one. I like that build a lot. Also nice to see, you know, Ikit again. Ikit's, I think, pretty underrated. You'll see a lot of Snitch. Snitch is very strong. You don't see even as much Skrulk anymore. Skrulk's okay still, but he's not as good as Snitch at Lord Sniping. And, yeah, you see some Wild Bell Lord occasionally, but really, it seems like Snitch kind of dominates the meta nowadays for the Skaven. Yeah. Set in stone. Let me see. It depends. We've got a few players left to get through, so. Oh man. Golden Eagle's gonna go for the Wild Mirror. Gonna get a Lizardman Mirror. This is gonna be interesting. Okay, but anyway, let's go ahead and get some music going. Some more dank Med 2 tunes. Oh yeah. Golden Duck. That's great. Yeah, we've got Golden Eagle here, and then Deadly Bunnies is up next. Then Dactyr, potentially. Duck is superior hunter. Oh man, that's great. I'm gonna go get a drink of water, guys. I'll be right back. Give me just a sec. Okay, and I'm returned. Guys, still getting the army picks locked in. Cool. Lizardman Mirror is interesting. I don't know if I've seen one of these in a while. I'm thinking how the meta of this is, and I honestly don't know. Because, like, a kite build could actually be good here. Like, a Lizardman kiting Lizardman, because they're going to be just as slow as you, more or less. And you actually could make, like, Razordons do work in this matchup, I would think. I don't know. Maybe they're not fast enough to get away from Carnosaurs, though. What do you guys think? Mazdamundi is pretty decent. Just has so much HP, and he's a caster on the Lord in 1, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, neither of them can take Mazdamundi, though. That's the thing, right? So, given that as it is, Master of the Skies, potentially, a wild tic-tac-toe, like, in a kite build, actually would be pretty interesting. with like lots of chameleons and razordons and so on. It's okay. I mean, ultra unit size, ultra funds, like, it's alright. Kind of changes things a little bit. Quite a bit, actually. But, I don't know. I like playing on the large unit sizes. Ultra's okay, but some people, if they have a lower NPC, can struggle a little bit more. So, often that's why you don't see that, is because you want to keep it open to as many people as possible. Yeah. Yeah, hunting packs, I would imagine, yeah, hunting packs. Razordons are very, very strong here. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go with this Old Blood Carnosaur as my lord. Take a Slon? I don't know. I feel like Slons are too slow, though. I feel like you'd get caught by like a Carnosaur, even a Saurian. I mean, the Saurian's like the ultimate monster fighting monster, right? So maybe you take a Saurian here and just like kind of build around it to make sure you can deal with Razordons. That's also another play, I think. And maybe you go like Life Slon for the Saurian, although I just said the Slon are too slow. If you have a Saurian to protect your Slon, I don't know. Small unit size is cursed. Small unit size is literally Elithnar's OP. Like, all single model artillery units are insanely overpowered because they can one-shot most units in the game. Like steam tanks, bone giants, like Elithnar, obviously Marcus, you know, a Necrofex or a Cygor. Any of those kind of units, any single model artillery is going to be ridiculously strong in small funds. Basically, that's the meta, is like single model artillery. So if you want to see the most cursed, I actually have done one in the past. That's how I know. Small funds is very cursed. Like, ultra unit sizes actually works okay. It still works pretty well. I think large is kind of functionally the best, in my opinion. But yeah, the small unit sizes is cursed. So weird. Hello, hello. And they're loading in. Perfect, perfect. I think I'm probably going to close off the list for now, guys, unfortunately. I mean, given with the amount of people that I still have to get through. And I do... we've only been on for an hour, really. It seems like I've been going for longer than that. But I guess we have had just a lot of games go pretty quick, so... Yeah, large is standard. Large unit sizes, large funds is the standard for multiplayer. That's what I would recommend starting. Because the game balance is different. Like, if you watch videos for tips, like get builds, like it's just going to be way different on different unit sizes and settings. And like fund settings and stuff. It changes things. I mean, some things don't change. But a lot of things, kind of the strategy and the thought process behind builds changes because you are more limited. And anyway, summons become ridiculously strong. Basically, single models, in a way, get even stronger. But anyway, let's have a look at these builds here as I'm flying around in circles. Tic-Tac-Toe is going to be leading his faction here, so a very interesting build. We've got some Cold One Riders and a couple of hunting packs, Razordons, and the Arwar Salamanders. Interesting. Is that Croak? It is. Croak, Wild Croak pick. That's very interesting. We've got some Pterodon Riders, Velocidon Hunters for anti-large. Go after enemy Pterodons. And look at this. Croak has also been brought and hidden in the woods here. So I guess, is Croak the meta for this mirror matchup? Anyway. Got a bunch of Chameleon Skinks up front here, second line of Javelins, Cold One Riders, so a lot of ranged units. One hunting pack here of Razordons and Crocky G. Interesting. It is a pretty small map to try and make these kind of missile kite units work. But definitely give the missile advantage to Bob here in a sense, just because he's got the javelins plus the chameleons, and really nice combo. But the hunting packs, obviously, Golden Eagle's got more of here. The other thing too, I guess, is if Tic-Tac-Toe can locate Croak, he can take him out pretty efficiently, and that'll pull this, it'll pull Krokar kind of away from the front line. Right off the bat, going to be getting some skirmish engagements. Yes, Pterodons definitely want to pull away from that. And Tic-Tac-Toe just kind of chilling, assessing the situation. Krokar pushing forward already with some of his chameleons and regular skink cohorts. What's up, Blackthorn? Welcome, welcome. Hand of the Gods going to be popped, and it does pop pretty good. Doesn't do too much damage, but there's a solid amount of damage on Tic-Tac-Toe there. Poor little guy. Definitely didn't deserve that. But Salamanders are also raining in some shots, making their presence felt. The Javelins are going to be very cost-effective going after the cohort of Sotek, but the Javelins also getting counter-fired by Javelins. So just a happy Javelin day to the Skinks. Unfortunately, over here, though, this Pterodon kind of gets isolated against multiple Chameleon Skinks, which volume trade is just really not good. But both of the hidden Croaks here is just hilarious to me. Both Croaks just kind of staying back for the time being, not revealing their presence. But Colossadons could definitely go out there. The Colossadons are going to have to be careful, though. Oh, man, yeah, it's risky to charge in here. I would almost just save them for a very key engagement against Krokar. But I guess coming in, getting a nice side charge on these Cav, potentially going to do some really nice damage here, supporting Tic-Tac-Toe even. And yeah, look at as the damage does start to come in. It's weird. Like, flying units charge. Melee, I could go on a whole rant about this, and I am planning on making a video about it at some point, but flying units charges are broken. Like, multi-model flying units charging to the ground, they like don't hit on their charge animations. It's really weird. Like, you saw there where they charged down, they didn't actually do any damage on the charge animation, and then like after a few seconds, once they start doing regular attack animations, then they actually do damage. Something with the animations or like the pathing, they've just never gotten it right since Warhammer 1. I don't know what they did from Warhammer 1 to 2 change it, but it's a unit it's a problem that's common to a lot of units, like Pegasus Knights especially, Hippogriff Knights and Rippers are all pretty big offenders. Like Vargeis as well are kind of big offenders as well. Even Glade Riders if you're trying to use them in melee. But anyway, back to the actual fight. Salamanders making their presence felt. His front line a little bit hit there, supporting that Cav engagement. The Razordons are very, very close, though. I don't know if they're really getting effective shots. They need to pull back a little bit and kind of readjust the angle. But the one Croak being brought forward here, the other Croak is also discovered now at this point. So if, yeah, Tic-Tac-Toe and the Colossadon Hunters want to go peel, they have him more or less dead to rights over there. They could just go take him out pretty quickly. It'd be better with Tic-Tac-Toe, I guess. You maybe don't want to get a full surround there with the Colossadon Hunters and potentially open them up to pizza delivery. But it looking pretty good right now for Golden Eagle. Balance power is still pretty close, but a Manticore Summon is going to be dropped here, thrown at the one Croak, but the, yeah, he's fine. I guess this other Croak is literally just a battery sitting here for the Greater Arcane Conduit, but Crocky G comes over and starts to put an absolute beat down on Tic-Tac-Toe. Tic-Tac-Toe really doesn't have the stats to stand and bang in that fight, so the Colossadon Hunters are going to come down. They do pop into an enraged state, which is really not super ideal. The Toad Rage is going to give them a big damage spike, up to 200 weapon strength. You can see Krokar is taking some pretty significant damage there, but another Manticore going to be called up here. And meanwhile, the other Lord Croak just kind of chilling on the side. Razordons really haven't played much of a factor here at all. You can see they've barely used any of their ammunition because they haven't really gotten great firing lanes this whole time. That is one thing about this map, is it can be tough to use those missile units effectively here, but Croak actually using some nice blocking there. These Coldman Riders also need to charge in the side and get those guys finished off, but Tic-Tac-Toe is getting eaten up by missiles and by Krokar here. But now his buddy, his Skink Chief, can continuously poke. You see how he's just only focusing on Krokar. Over the course of the game, if Golden Eagle can keep it going, then that will start to tell, especially in the late game. But Razordons now getting free finally. Hunting packs, the other hunting packs, Salamanders doing okay here. And if he could chase off some of these Chameleon Skinks, this would be fantastic. But yeah, Tic-Tac-Toe's got to run from that Manscore, which he is trying to do, but I think the Manscore is still going to get the charge animation. Tic-Tac-Toe can't get back up in the air, but he just barely does and immediately gets terrified. Manscore does get an attack animation there, but the Manscore is just about to fade. Oh, but it's not going to be fast enough. He will chase poor little skink bro off the map, so with Tic-Tac-Toe being gone, that is potentially going to be an issue. Croak's still going to try and stabilize things, the one Croak at least. And Masamune is definitely starting to feel the heat of all those missiles. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely still winnable for Golden Eagle here if he can take out Krokar. But Krokar's got to be a priority target. Both pizza deliveries being called. And unfortunately, yeah, the Salamander hunting pack's getting tied up in melee here. It's really not great, but there's not a lot they can do to stop Krokar at this point. Croak definitely needs to stay away from him, if at all possible. But, yeah, the missile pressure over a course of a long battle, it will probably be enough. But here, where Krokar is pressing hard to try and get a lot of these units chased off the side, which he can do on this map, it's definitely favoring him in this situation. Or little Tic-Tac-Toe, man. Just can't stand up to the big old Crocky G. Yeah, oh, I 100% would also recommend the Noob Hammer training Discord. Definitely, if you're trying to transition from single player to multiplayer. But I think that's it for Tic-Tac-Toe's forces. These Razordons actually still fighting here. But the Razordons for Bob were able to make their presence felt somewhat. Both of them, actually, the hunting packs didn't really play as much of a factor as I thought they could. But, yeah, Crocky G definitely taking home the win here. Hitting that massive pressure, just beating up those poor skinks. Absolutely. I can drop a link here in a moment if you would like, or if you go, I believe in the community tab. Let me see, on my Discord, I think there's a link you can find to it. You go to community resources. Then it should be... maybe there's not one there. Let me grab one real quick as these guys are tying up their game. Okay, and let's post that here. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Huh. Not quite. This one is what I was looking for. Okay. There we go. So it's in the community resources on my Discord now, if you want to find it there. But I'm missing the most important part of this battle. Clearly, is Undead Croak making out with himself. This is so inappropriate, sir. Like, what are they doing? What are they even doing? This is R-rated right here, guys. Whatever is happening. And I believe just through RNG, Krokar's Croak is going to win. Magic resistance means they're absolutely wet noodling each other, but I didn't realize Croak actually has 450 weapon strength. That's pretty crazy. Only 12 melee defense, but 26 attack with magic damage. So Croak actually probably crumps a Banshee, like super hard. I never thought about that. Maybe that's why you bring him in this matchup. But one of the Croaks, 194 kills, bunker busted some skinks, but definitely was not enough. Man, this is a weird mirror. This should have been the whole battle. Oh yeah. And he's gone. This is what you guys come for, right? Yeah, the one Croak gets 205 kills, but ends up losing at the end of the day. Poor Tic-Tac-Toe getting gooned out by mean old Krokgar, but it was definitely an attempt by Golden Duck. I like the thinking there. I think, honestly, the positioning of the Razordons, even though they did get 84 kills, like, just that they had been able to kind of support against Krokgar a little bit, and just in general, the kind of the cav engagement, they ended up being used more there, I think. And anyway, yeah. Razordons, even though they did get a lot of kills, I just don't know that they necessarily got the right kills. Same thing for the Salamanders, I guess, too. We both agreed to take Croak beforehand. Okay, I was wondering, like, Is Croak the meta in this matchup, or... Okay. Oh, yeah. On par with my Gorst. My worst replay I've ever casted, which is an actually amazing Gorst game. But anyway, okay, let's go on to the next person on the list. We've got Deadly Bunnies up next. Let's get that going there, and we're moving along. Whoops. I can post one here in the chat as well for you guys. Copied that one there earlier, so there's a link to the new Noob Hammer. If you want to join there, great spot. A lot of great people doing some teaching. I'm planning on, hopefully, if I have time. It all depends on some things, but if I can, I would love to do some organized teaching sessions myself. I have some ideas of some things I could do. Some parts of the game that are important for newer players to learn, but are often overlooked. Yes, also there. For those of you guys who are just watching this back, if the chat's not available for whatever reason, or, you know, links expired, there will be a link there on my Discord. I don't think that's necessarily a limitation of the banner rules. I think that's just... I mean, Glade Guard are not good enough that you could win by spamming them anyway. Yeah, I don't think it's an issue at all. I mean, the Wood Elves, Glade Guard just die regardless to everything, mostly, so they're so squishy and flimsy that, it's not, I mean, it's not like they would enable you to take a melee build. Your good unit is still like Way Watchers, and that's your entire faction, basically. Like, Way Watchers are the carry, like... You can get away in some matchups with not using them, but you're always better off to just learn how to micro Way Watchers and win with them. You can take a melee rush, and Falcon even for a while was going with played around with using the Glade Lord, the melee Glade Lord, since he has Helm of Discord, actually can work with melee builds pretty well, but even still, like, Glade Guard's just, I don't know, not great. None of the Wood Elves melee units are really good, I'm gonna be honest. Where's Dancing Wurzag? Alright, just for you, Lux. Just for you, because this is the track for Dancing Wurzag, right? Oh wait, did Deadly Bunnies already play? Wait, I'm confused. Okay, Deadly Bunnies actually already went. I totally am just very tired, so I forgot. But we'll move along. Dactor's up next then. Swift Shivers are okay, but yeah. The cheat sheet I made for factions, I don't necessarily remember what you're talking about. Or is that you talking to someone else? Oh, you mean the banner rules, like the cheat sheets? Yeah, those are really nice. I did not make those, but yeah, I think Ziphos is the one that put that together, like the graphics for it, if I remember right. Aerocrastic obviously like wrote the rules and everything, but yeah. I mean, if you want to print it out yourself, absolutely. The thing is, we update them relatively frequently, or I should say Aerocrastic updates them relatively frequently, so they do change from time to time. You could print them if you wanted to. Oh yeah, he did get 200 plus kills. But yeah, we're gonna just go, I think, with the people I have today. It's not probably gonna end up being about, yeah, like 2.5, 3 hours. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Go for a run, do a nice workout while it's nice outside still. And yeah, just looking at some things. Cool. Okay. Oh, I should probably change the map. Let's go for another smallish map. We'll go for... I'm trying to think of a good one. Let's do Ancient Dragon Cave. No, that's not it. Estalian Tomb, that's it. Okay. There it is. Okay. All right. Oops, just bumped my mic a little bit there. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. Can anyone dethrone Bob's Lizardmen today, though? That's the real question. Wood Elves have a pretty good matchup here. There's some things you can do. Durthu's very good in this matchup, and Wood Elves can kind of, Way Watchers obviously kill dinos. So there's that. But just had to sneeze real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I like Wood Elves in this matchup. This is one of the few matchups I think where Wood Elves have an advantage. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think, but Solar Engines are pretty good against the trees. They just don't do enough AP, really, in my experience, to like consistently deal with Durthu. And let me not forget Dancing Warzag. There we go. Let's see what they got, and we do have a Wild Durthu pick. I say wild, but I think he's pretty good in this matchup. Patronal Guards with shields, Wildwood Rangers, Starfire Shafts, Wild Riders with shields, Wards of Kithral, a pretty good choice here, and some more Wild Riders. So the Solar Engine is going to be the response, double Solar Engine even, with a high Slan. It's the dankest of Slans. We've got the Legion of Chakwa here for some missile resistance in case of counterfire. We've got Chameleon Skinks for counterfire. Some Cav, which is absolutely essential in this matchup. Javelins and Cohort for support. Yeah, Starfires are very cost-effective here. You have a few of them. They are going to get Starfired by the Solar Engines. I guess it's not Starfired, it's Solar-fired, right? So Starfire versus Solar-fire. Let's see who can take home the win here. Oh, it's silly. Absolutely silly. A Fire Slan would also be a little bit meme. Definitely, I would say the High Slon's more competitive, literally integrating with a tree right now, but let's not focus too much on that. In fact, if you look from this angle, you can't even really tell that he is actually a totem right now, except for when the branch clips through his brain. But, anyway, yeah, the double solar engines definitely plays. We've got, what, Hand of Glory, Tempest, and Apotheosis. Tempest not going to be a factor here, but it's nice insurance to have, even though it's a little bit of wasted gold in this specific situation. Hand of Glory, though, will be very good. Not only increase the reload rate of the solar engines, but to give a bit of melee attack to whoever needs it. But yeah, Durthu, basically the solar engines are going to have to take out Durthu, and I just don't... they can, I think. They focus only on him, but... the armor is definitely a factor. 110 armor. Solar engines don't have the best AP values in the world. They're going to start focusing Durthu probably right off the bat. Durthu does not have any healing. There's no Lord level heal caster, so it's just going to be him by himself. But right now, the solar engines are focusing on the Starfires, which is definitely what they should be doing. Shield of Chocolates gets popped here, and you can see that the solar engines taking relatively little damage now from the Starfire shafts that do land there, and they're going to be counter-firing relatively effectively. Also, no Shield of the Old Ones quite yet, maybe just waiting to layer that on after, but that's, you know, kind of a similar idea, help resist some of those missiles. But the Wild Riders actually get a pretty decent engagement over here against these Cold One Riders and just wreck them pretty decisively. Sword of Daith also helping out there. Wardens of Kithral, this is going to be a great engagement for them to get on these Cold One Spears, or the regular Cold One Riders, I guess, without the Cold One Riders having got the charge, but those Wild Riders definitely need to pull out. They're getting massively crossfired here by a bunch of skink jabs and blow darts and stuff. They are Wild Riders with shields, which is super important. They actually have a nice missile block chance for cavalry, which is why they haven't been getting shredded quite so hard as they would otherwise. But yeah, I want to say it's a 55% missile block chance, which is super solid for a cavalry unit. And the Wood Elf press is on. You can see the Wild Riders pushing through, just wrecking the skink front line, running roughshod, and even these Cold One Riders, yeah, they managed to actually get away from the Wardens of Kithral there, but solar engines are going to start to get crowded in at this point, and Durthu can move into combat. Actually, there is a Branch Wraith here. Okay, I was lying. There is a heal caster. But Durthu's taken very little damage so far, and there's just not much on this Lizardmen roster that can directly threaten him, which is an issue, I think, potentially. The Wildwood Rangers don't really have a home in this particular battle. They're kind of just going to get shot by everything and probably die not cost effectively, but it's an extra infantry unit to try and give some anti-large AP support. So far, though, the Starfire Shafts have not really been able to focus the Solar Engines much. Solar Engines, like, half their ammo's gone, but they've been doing some good damage on the Glade Guards, kind of winning that engagement. But here comes Durthu, man. Mostly unopposed at this point. The Slon will be able to get away somewhat there, but his magic damage, I guess, not really an interaction since there's no Guardian or anything. Durthu very, very angry at getting lit on fire by solar engines. Is going to be pushing through, and this is bad. Lizard Cav now in the back line somehow are getting loose. Nice banishment. I must have missed where that was cast, but they actually do make contact on those Glade Guard there. The Wild Riders are in play in getting a rear charge, and they will be able to take them out pretty quickly, but that one charge there to interrupt and do a bunch of damage could be pretty decisive. Now the... oh, this is good, though. Taking out Legion of Chakra together, the ROR Spears. Nice ROR Spear fight. We'll zoom in close on this with Durthu supporting the Wardens of Kithral plus Durthu going ham on the Legion of Chocolates here. Bringing full Hershey bars to the face. Just unprepared. Anyway, and yeah, the Starfire Shafts have been mostly dealt with at this point. There's really still just a handful online here in this unit, but the Eternal Guards are making their presence felt. They're going to trade very efficiently in melee. Look at all these ranged skinks still. The skinks just shooting, you know, just volume, massive volume there into those Eternal Guard. Durthu definitely wants to push forward, try and throw out some Flock of Doom, maybe. He does have the Pocket Manticore summon as well. I don't know what the Winds of Magic situation is like there, but that Pocket Manticore summon to be thrown back at this Crossfire. Durthu now is going to take enough Crossfire that it starts to kind of concern him a little bit. He really doesn't want to be eating all of this directly to the face because he's so close here. He's taking 100% of the shots. Sword of Daith does go off. He does actually get in range to slap those Chameleon Skinks a little bit, which is a little hilarious. Chameleon Skinks could probably get away from this if they wanted to. But with Durthu at least pressuring some of them, and the volume not quite so great, the threat's not as big, he can start to push some of them off here, but the Wood Elves definitely savage pretty hard here. And this one unit of Cold One Riders still being very healthy, I think could be pretty decisive. We'll see. Wardens of Kithral may want to peel and actually go after the Slann here, or at the very least kind of push back. They are a very expensive unit to be taking this Javelin Fire, potentially. And this unit of Skink Jav is going to open up on them. Does some okay damage. The missile block chance, 55% of the Wardens of Kithral. Very, very important here to shrug off that damage. But yeah, Durthu coming back to grab some healing from the Branch Wraith. Branch Wraith also hits himself with Earthblood a little bit. Come on, stabilize. This is such a close game. Come on. Come on, you can do it, Connection. I know it. Oh man, but this is rough. Now this Lizard Cav is able to get in this backline mostly unopposed. There's no Wild Riders left to disrupt them. The Wild Riders are kind of here on cleanup duty, which is unfortunate. They're an expensive unit to be put onto cleanup duty, but you really don't have a choice as Wood Elves. You don't have any cheaper units. Definitely something I'm hoping will change with the DLC. But now the Pocket Manticore Summon being used in the late game. We've seen that a couple times today. And now from Dactor, from Durthu, that Manticore Summon going to be pulled up at a pretty decisive moment where the Solar Engines are kind of getting pressured by the anti-large infantry here. And I was talking bad about how Glade Guards are terrible in melee. But here, actually, they've proven pretty okay. They've been able to kind of hang around. There's no Chariots or really high shock damage units to fight them in melee, which is their main weakness. And the ranged just hasn't been quite enough. It's pretty close. It was pretty close, I should say. Now it's definitely going in favor of the Wood Elves, as the last of these Cold One Riders get dragged down. They did get a Hand of Glory there, actually doing some pretty good damage. But, yeah, Wild Riders supporting. There's just too many units left for the Wood Elves. Wardens of Kithral end up over-chasing here and just getting murdered by Skinks. But they do eat all of the Skinks' ammo, so that's good, because then Durthu doesn't have to eat it, right? And they did get 116 kills already, so I guess they probably paid for themselves. Nice performance from the Wardens of Kithral there. And Big Daddy Durthu taking home the win. Cheers, yeah, good game. Good game. The Wild Riders 2-man, 140, 103 kills, 118 for the Wardens of Kithral. Very, very solid in this matchup. Regular Wild Rangers, not so much, but it ended up being kind of distraction Glade Guard, I feel. Solar Engines focused so much on the Glade Guard. I don't know if, like, this kind of half HP that Durthu has left, they had focused on him instead. Obviously, then the Glade Guard are shooting them, and they may not be able to sustain. So, like, kind of from a win condition perspective, in order for the Solar Engines to function, you kind of have to take out the Blade Guards, right? But maybe you try and use your superior Cav numbers, although the Wild Rider is definitely responding very strongly there. Well played to Dactor, honestly, and Bob also gone on an absolute tear. Finally gets dethroned by the Ponzi, I guess not Super Ponzi, the Hippie Elves. Yeah, Ponzi Elves are High Elves. Hippie Elves are Wood Elves. Emo Elves are Dark Elves. It's all Circle of Life. Elf life. Anyway, Gobble Slayer's up next. What's a good sub-faction? What is Azag's faction? Any faction that has a black and gold color scheme is a good sub-faction. So Nagarythe, Harganeth, the Broken Tooth, or whatever, Crack Tooth, or whatever Azag's faction is, I forget. Yeah, anything with a black and gold color scheme. Sartosa Militia. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, Sartosa Militia are a thing. The true Dark Elves. Oh, yeah, Harganeths. Arnessa subfaction is, if you want to go all Vanguard, it's very good. Kinda. I use that good loosely, but actually you can do some things with like Mourngul's support. Mourngul's supporting like the Free Company, both ranged and melee variant in a mass Vanguard with Hounds too. You can get actually like a full Vanguard pretty much, except your Lord. And it actually is okay in some matchups. Like, it's a way that you can win against the dwarfs and catch them like kind of off guard. It's tough though. Sartosa Militia really are not very good. The melee ones, they're okay, but they're not amazing for the cost. They're just, I mean, they're actually pretty good for the cost. They just don't cost very much. They're pretty squishy, so it's hard to make them work against the armor of the. I mean, they have anti-infantry, right? The armor of the dwarves kind of, they don't have the best AP. They have okay AP, but definitely want to try and tear armor away from the dwarfs if you can, using like taunt, and if you take Lore of Death, take Soul Blight as well, because with that many living units, especially if you take Arnessa as a lord, like you don't, Invocation of the Heck becomes less useful, and Mournguls will pretty much heal themselves. You don't really need to heal them anyway, so. Yeah, those ROR spears, man, they just tore through your lines. Your best bet was going to be try and crossfire them, but your ranged tools had a lot to deal with anyway. But yeah, let's go ahead and get a new map. We'll go to Eschen. Pop on over to Eschen. In fact, I may even save that game and cast it later, just because that was probably one of the best uses I've seen of that ROR. I do think Wildwood Rangers themselves are a really weird unit. They're very hard to use. They can be good in specific situations, but... Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Durthu was coming for you too. I mean, Durthu is going to be tough with the build you had. Like, you had some tools which could take him on, but nothing that was like super scary for him. Even then, like the high-end monsters for the Lizardmen, even then they're not really. I mean, they can fight Durthu, but Durthu's just so strong, man. The charge defense versus large actually gives him a pretty clear advantage in a lot of situations against other monsters, as long as he doesn't get teamed up on. He's secretly one of the best combatants in the game. Like, he's on par with like Kolek and Karl and those guys in terms of being a combatant. Yeah. Yeah, well played to both, honestly. It's a great game. Very, very back and forth, very close. But yeah, I like that Wildwood Ranger build. Add some more sneezes, guys. Sorry. Trying to mute my microphone so don't blow your ears out if you're listening on headphones. What can we do, though? Ah, yeah. Yeah. That is one way of dealing with Durthu, because he's relatively slow. Like, he's not going to necessarily tie anything down directly. But yeah. Wildwood Rangers and that Wild Rider play was super on point, too, I have to say. Yeah, Durthu's not unbreakable. He's not, unfortunately. Would be nice if he was. It'd honestly be kind of OP, I think. Maybe. I mean, Orion's unbreakable, but already. Orion's also a very strong combatant. But Durthu's just more. Got more HP, I believe. He's more armor. Don't have the Cloak of Isha to necessarily tank out in some ridiculous situations, but Manticore Summon, Sword of Daith. It's all there. Yeah, have one shoot him while the other one's fighting him. Yeah, that can work, definitely. If you can have both of them operational kind of at the same time, though, is the thing. Now, Ryan is a pain. He can be. You don't have the tools to finish him off in the late game? Oh, man. You're in for a long one. All you need is some kind of high burst, like either multiple heroic units with high weapon strength. Even like one heroic unit with high weapon strength can be enough, depending on how much weapon strength they have. Like a big missile burst can do it too. Yeah, freedom! Oh yeah. Yeah, it's probably because Dark Elves are not very good right now. Probably because, yeah, the Dark Elves, they have like a few builds that work consistently right now, and they're all not very fun to play, in my opinion. They all involve around like foot hero blobs. So, yeah, they're in a weird spot right now. They get just wrecked in a lot of matchups. I mean, they're still competitive in a lot of matchups, but they actually are probably, I would say, the worst faction in the game right now. If I had to say, and that might be a hot take right now. Some people would disagree, I'm sure, but I think Dark Elves are definitely the weakest as it stands. Like, I don't see any matchups as truly favorable for them right now, which really sucks. Beastmen and Chaos, though, you can still, I don't know. Chaos I've been seeing a bit more of lately. Chaos is, like, just very basic, but they're still pretty strong. Beastmen, too. Like, Beastmen spawn rushes and, like, going all in on monstrous infantry. Like, they can definitely do some things, too. Dark Elves is just... You can do some things, but so squishy as a faction. Yeah, Dark Elves are the worst right now. I would agree with that. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at some builds here. We've got a Wild Elithanar pick with some Shadow Walkers. Got some Illyrian Reaver Archers. A couple Dragon Princes holding back. I believe we've seen this exact build before from Dactor, I want to say. He brought it once before on another stream, which I'm a big fan of. The Tuxedo Princes in particular. We'll just take a second to admire, as is tradition. Fancy, classy elves dressed up for the dance. Going to prom. Oh yeah, pure class. And for the Empire, we've got the Huntsman, the Hunts Marshal himself, Marcus Wolfhart. We've got a Wild Felix. Is there even a caster here? Gotrek, there's not even a caster here. Wow, so going full flex, no caster. Gotrek, Felix, Marcus. That is a big ball play right there. Also got some war wagons, the Arwar war wagons, a couple of regular, 3 even regular war wagons, swordsmen, spearmen with shields, and some Free Company militia up front. A wild build, absolutely wild build. But this thing's gonna be nasty. This Hellblaster wagon's gonna be nasty against these Shadow Walkers. Oh yeah, Dactor is very clearly a man of culture. Unfortunately, Marcus Wolfhart is not a man of culture. He brought these filthy gunpowder weapons and didn't even bring a caster. Oh yeah, love the builds already. Sit in the war wagon with these guys. Pretty cool perspective, like down in the wagon. See what they see. Yeah. And they're off. Immediately, Elithnar is going to start popping shots into those free company, and the whole formation starts to wheel around to the side here. But the Black Lions, I mean, they are within range. I guess Shadow Walkers actually, they have snipe? They do not. So this one here is spotted, I believe. Maybe the other ones are not. They still, it looks like they're hidden. But yeah, nice little moonbow there. Did not go after the ROR war wagons, but look at the damage from the... and those Shadow Walkers do deal quite a bit of damage to those free company. But some nice shots coming in. It kills like 10 models already almost. The war wagons do, which is pretty impactful considering the low model count in general there. But we've got some Reaver archers pulling up on the side. These war wagons can go screen them out. You can see the Black Lions also opening up here. That's such a cool unit, man. Mounted Hellblaster. You can see that Elithnar is focusing on them, which is obviously a pretty smart play. Gotrek and Felix, though, pushing up the pipe. Trying to go after Elithnar and pressure him away. Dragon Prince is starting to make their presence felt, charging in. Nice net from Marcus, though, to pin them in place, allow those spearmen to stand up and get some work done in return. Omen of Isurian also flies in, gets tagged there by the net, stopped up, and you can see the Hellblaster then turns to start firing there. So, kind of the mobile cannon aspect is very good. This is relatively expensive. You have to be careful about what you use its ammo on, otherwise it will use up all of its ammo and not really pay for itself. But a nice heal on those Dragon Princes. They were sustained most of that damage pretty well, given that they were caught in a pretty bad situation there. But yeah, Hellblaster actually not being super accurate there, not making the best contact with those late volleys. And you know what is making good contact, though, very accurate, are these Shadow Walkers. They have pretty much finished off the Free Company. There's basically just one unit of Free Company left. Marcus is continuously planking the Omen of Isurian, which is a pretty good play. A high-value unit. It does have its own self-healing, potentially, right? Can get that rebirth proc, so... just doing whatever damage you can early on in the battle definitely makes sense. But it is going to get down and actually get a tag on these the Black Lions. I always want to call them the War Lions now. A lot of line units in this game. But they kind of get pressure forward and then into the range. And oh man, one of the unit models actually just went down there. Moonbow detonates another one. And suddenly the Black Lions are shut down. Only one poor wagon left, and that is going to get routed away after only using up a tiny portion of their ammunition. So that is pretty decisive, and the Reavers now kind of wheeling around. They're going to be able to chase a lot of these routing units off, and the Dragon Princes almost completely untouched at this point. If they can get a nice open field surround on these war wagons, they'll do some pretty good damage on the charge. You can see the Reavers kind of understanding that. They're going to come in and try and bog down as much as I can. Unfortunately, the war wagons can literally just pull through them. War wagons are so hilarious. They do not care at all about this situation. They are going to care about this charge here. We'll keep the health bars up so we can kind of see how the Dragon Princes do. Excuse me, on the charge here. Oh, but they get netted by Marcus. A nice net, and well, Empire is definitely not out of this yet, despite the loss of the Black Lions there. Obviously, these war wagons all still have plenty of ammunition left. Marcus is still alive. He's got plenty of ammunition left. Plenty of State Troop spears. Help support against the Dragon Princes. So might as well circle the wagons at this point. Get into a nice defensive position. Play off those missiles. Looks like is what he is trying to do. Gotrek and Felix getting a little caught out, though, and oh man, look at Gotrek! Gotrek suddenly the subject of the not Waywatcher fire. He has 0 armor, so the fact that they're not Waywatchers doesn't matter so much. But they're going to be able to get some really nice damage on Gotrek with that one volley in particular. Yeah. Load up for another one real quick. And, oh, look at the damage. Oh, poor Gotrek just getting slapped by arrows as he pulls back. But at the same time, Omen of Isurian drops down and also gets just slapped by war wagons. The question is, will it end up mattering, or do these war wagons just have so much ammo that they're just going to win because they have just so much ammo? That's kind of the question at this point, right? I mean, the Shadow Walkers have some ammo left, but it's not a ton, honestly. I don't know. And the Dragon Princes, just because of all the spears here, have a hard time actually getting to the War Wagons. Wagons are going to keep pressuring there, and credit to Gobbo Slayer keeping them kind of close and saturated on top of the spears. Loading up for another aim shot or moonbow or something over there. Can't really tell. Looks like he's winding up the animation, but didn't actually cast it. Yeah, excuse me. Anyway. Yeah. Shadow Walkers all kind of zoned at this point. They are stalked. They do have a really good stalk, it seems like. Just barely getting spotted now there. But, yeah, the wagon's moving over. They're going to start to engage. But here comes the I want to call them Way Watchers. They're not Way Watchers. They're pretty close, but they're not Way Watchers. Actually kind of like them better than Way Watchers. They're what I wish Way Watchers would be, maybe. I don't know. That's discussion for another time. But one War Wagon down, and you see that quick burst damage. That doesn't take much for them to take a unit out. So now Dactor pulling them back, being very conservative with his ammo as much as he can, and just, again, utilizing these Reavers to go after any, like, kind of exposed, weak units. Try and chase them off if they can, but unfortunately, Free Company, they're not pushovers. They'll fight just fine. I mean, they did get routed, actually, but it did enough to allow the spears to kind of catch up and then pressure them away, although chasing off this War Wagon is definitely going to be pretty solid. Great use of value there. Felix is now going to be the subject of some fire, but Felix actually has self-healing and a little bit of armor, and he's a relatively small target, so he can kind of waste some of the shots there, dodge around a little bit. Dragon Prince is still alive, but taking some War Wagon fire. Anyway, yeah, the burst. If you focus like you do with Way Watchers, I mean, they have the same missile damage as Way Watchers, I believe. I think it's just that the profile is reversed in terms of AP, so they actually only do 5 AP per shot, but overall 22 missile damage, and it's really what gives it that burst is the accuracy, because like 100% of the arrows actually are making contact there. So you're getting, you know, all of that damage. Plus the poison's kind of nice too, obviously. Let's see. Free Company here going to come up, and are they going to start to blast the Lithanar? This is fun. I like this. A Lithanar just getting pistoled by Free Company before they get charged by Dragon Princes. Oh yeah, just walloped by Dragon Princes. War Wagon's also about to get walloped, but Marcus' last net gets burned here on the Dragon Princes, and they're just fighting low-tier spears melee. The low-tier spears aren't going to do too much damage, but the volume of low-tier spears is pretty good here, and the fact they can just kind of saturate and keep those Dragon Princes bogged down. Nice heal, though, from Dactor, getting all the important units that he needs to heal. Keep that cavalry blob kind of sustained. And now State Troops are in melee against Shadow Walkers. Shadow Walkers are pretty much out of ammo at this point, moving in with their anti-infantry. 43 and 40, they definitely have just clearly better stats than the Swordsmen, but, I mean, there's literally half as many, so... With a nice little rear charge, though, that will definitely turn around. I think they might win that anyway. It's hard to say. It wasn't necessarily a clean kind of 1v1 engagement regardless, but, yeah, Dragon Prince is still alive. Credit to Dactor, man. Seems like he's pretty well practiced with this Shadow Walker kind of Dragon Prince build. Shadow Walker is now moving in to fight in melee, and that poison, of course, that they deal in melee, plus the anti-infantry, just gives them a really nice stat line in general, like State Troops. And the Dragon Princes still being alive is key. The War Wagons are also still alive, though, and just about out of ammunition. This one has got an XP chevron. This one is reasonably close. We'll see if it's able to pull it out there, but Marcus actually got beat up there by something. I'm not sure. Must have missed that. Maybe a Dragon Prince charge, perhaps? He doesn't have a whole lot of armor. Dragon Princes can actually do some pretty effective damage to him on the charge. Yeah, with Marcus potentially gone, will that be enough? Even still, the Elves have just units to chew through, right? And the Shadow Walker's doing a great job right now. Up to 112 kills there, 113 kills, 119 there. And just blending, absolutely blending these State Troops. 102 there. Very cost-effective use of Shadow Walkers. Yeah, this is a very Wood Elf main type build. It's basically like you don't have armor piercing on Way Watchers, but you have access to like heavy cavalry, right? And also cheaper light cavalry. Yeah. It's actually, it is very similar to like a Wood Elf type play, but I think, I don't know, it's fun. Way Watchers are definitely a better unit, but Shadow Walkers are very good still. I think they're super underrated. Oh yeah. Elithnar versus Marcus, the duel of the Archer Lords, and it looks like, in fact, the Elves come out on top there. War Wagons now charging into melee. You know things are desperate when the War Wagons are having to rear charge units in melee. At this point, a lot of the Empire's force is gone. A lot of their value is just wrapped up here in Felix, and Gotrek is long gone from this world. Oh, there's just the wagons and Felix. Felix trying to get a hold of Elithnar here. Elithnar actually almost going to get picked off here by this War Wagon, potentially. But a good game to Gobbo Slayer. Definitely played a fun one. Duel of the Archer Lords. I feel like when I've played this in the past, Elithnar's also won. I want to say I played a game between these two during the early access for Marcus, actually. And I believe Elithnar did win that one as well, so maybe Elithnar is actually the better archer, even though you look at it on paper, and Marcus is just way more competitive, right? Like, he has nets, he has anti-large, just kind of better, but it ends up being that, you know, can't discount the Shadow Walkers, all over 140 kills, all in the 140s specifically. Love that beautiful symmetry there. Dragon Prince is not so much this time, but a heavy lifting done. It was a pretty wide Empire army to begin with. Some heavy lifting done by those Shadow Walkers. The War Watchers, I don't know. Yeah, their charge bonus is so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, let's go ahead and we've got 2 more competitors to get through, so let's get them in here. Who did I have? I had Malverde. Cool. And then, yeah, we got him. And then we've got Honey Nut. And then I believe that's it for the day. So, thanks all for coming out, guys. It's been awesome. Nice way to pass the time on a day like today. Y'all for being here. And, yeah, we're up to like 85 to 100 at one point. That's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Yeah, that was an epic game. GG. GG. Some nice back and forth there. That was not a matchup I think I would see very often. You know, War Wagons versus Shadow Walkers. But hey, that's what this game's all about. Yeah, I mean, you play it like you would play a Wood Elf kite build, and it seems to be working pretty well for you. Yeah, sorry, MP. It was. You'll have to go back. We had some great games today, man. You'll have to go back and watch. We still got 2 more left, so let's see here. Malverde has not responded yet, so I don't know. He might be AFK. Let's go to Honey Nut. Oh, it looks like he's here. Okay. Maybe. Oh, yes. He said he's on his way. Okay. Perfect. Whoops. Excellent. Yeah, I've still got a couple, absolutely. Where's that Savage Orc build? Alright, I like that. I like that. Take the bloody hands. Alright, let's see. Okay, sorry, just reading something on the side here. Someone's sending me a bunch of messages. Yeah, going on a big run like that'll take it out of you, Bob. It's, get to play a bunch of games in a row with people gunning for you. Oh, we're getting a Lizardmen mirror. This is fantastic. With Wurzag's faction versus, versus Azag. Wurzag versus Azag. Should be a good time. Let's see who wins. Okay, and yeah, sorry, just getting a little more distracted here. Hopefully y'all are having a good day so far. It's been great for me. Didn't really sleep at all last night, but no big deal. Okay. Oh, seems like they're almost ready. Yeah, that is true. With my Koth rules, at least. Quite uneventful. That's how I would hope today would be for me as well. I think most Americans would like for today to be uneventful. Something to aspire to, certainly. So far, I could say the same for myself. Alright, and they're ready. Let's do this. Okay. Castle Drakenhof. It's a nice classic map. Look at that timing on the music, too. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I don't see the boys, but I hear the boys. Oh, man. Look at this absolute horde of savages right here. Wow, this is quite all in. Savage Orc Boars, Savage Orcs, plus Savage Orc Biggins mixed in. Some more Boars, couple Air Boys, and Wurzag. That's literally it. Savage Orcs. You wanted it, you got it. As for Azag, he's brought a more well-balanced build. We've got some Savage Orcs, picked from Wurzag. Azag, we've got Night Goblin Shaman here, Savage Orc Boar Boys, Spider Riders, a Ragnarok Spider, the Swamp Things, and the Spore Splodas. Logie Bogies, Spore Splodas, the ones that still have like crazy splash damage. Yeah, interesting. Let's see how they do here. Oh yeah, nice Greenskins mirror, and I have to say, Azag has the best color scheme of any of the orcs. Like his Savage Orcs look pretty green. I like the green on green paint of his Savage Orcs. It's almost like a gold green. There's not too many units that are actually showing off the color scheme. ROR Night Goblins, of course, have their own color scheme, but yeah, just that like dark blue, black almost, plus the gold. I guess it probably just looks more green because it's on like a green background, but you see here it's actually like a nice yellow. Yellow makes go faster. Oh no, red makes go faster. Yellow is something else, I don't know. Yellow is agile, or I don't know. You get it. It's going to be a big old melee brawl, as you would imagine here. Although that big old melee brawl is definitely going to favor Wurzag's forces, just because Wurzag has a lot more melee units, and the Spore Splodas just get absolutely canned immediately on a charge by those Savage Orc Boars, and the AP missiles of the Savage Orc Airboys as well firing in there. Ooh, big Foot of Gork! Giant Foot of Gork just stomps out a bunch of Boars here and the regular Savage Orcs, but Azag hanging around in this backline, he could potentially drop. I believe he's been pinned in place. Yeah, FG to get moved has been used on him, so he can't try and snipe Wurzag while this big push is going on, and this, I imagine this would be pretty quick. And indeed, it does appear that it's going to be pretty quick, because like half of the Greenskins, or the Broken Tooth have their teeth broken. Just a bunch of units even getting like straight up shattered already. Wurzag comes down to Azag comes down to hunt Wurzag on the ground and then quickly gets surrounded by Boars. Nice Spirit Leech going down on him, but Wurzag now pops the Y. He's going to turn around, utilize that high charge, get that Squealing Pig in there, and get a nice charge in on Azag. 86 charge on Wurzag, just absolutely getting it. But he is also get debuffed, to Doom and Darkness on him to debuff his leadership. It's not quite going to finish him off, but these Savage Orc Airboys just making their absolute presence felt. Pin cushioning Azag here. Azag's armor has been popped. Give him up to 100 armor, some extra melee defense, especially for the trolls is quite nice. Doesn't look like it actually hit them though, which is quite unfortunate. Ragnarok Spider just kind of getting surrounded at this point, and the swarm of Savage Orcs from Dactyr actually wins. That's all good, Wicked. It's all good. I didn't actually post a notification on my Discord, like I didn't tag it like posting. I didn't do what is the tradition, which is to post in literally 12 different Discords and tag here in all of them, so that, each person gets 12 notifications that I'm streaming. That seems to be the traditional thing to do, which I did not do. So that's probably why you didn't know. So that's on me. One goblin disliked the stream, that's fine. Excuse me. But yeah, not looking great for Azag at this point. And although he is the classiest, he brought too many missile units. Just got crumped by savages. There's still some unbreakable gobos fighting somewhere, but army losses has been triggered. Yeah, there's a handful over here. Gonna meet their end at the hands of the savages. Big boys. Absolutely lawnmowering them. The animations for the biggins are hilarious. Absolutely love it. Yeah, like we almost got up to like 100, I think, at one point. But man, those Spore Splodas just getting absolutely rattled. I have not seen them really work. Even when the DLC was new, like, I don't know. They're just... I don't see it. Anyway. Last one for today. We've got... Honey Nut. Or, sorry, is it Pumpkin Nut? I think he's going by Turkey Nut right now? Okay, that's fine. Timer won it. It's hilarious to watch my YouTube analytics backend just bug out while I'm streaming. Oh, let's see. Any more ideas? Oh, good question. That's a good question. How about... I don't know. Full ice-themed Norska build? Ooh, somebody's just gonna bring Flaming Sword of Ruin and ruin your day. Yeah, that seems like a fun idea. End it for Sigmar, boys. You could go full Unbreakable Empire. Take Volkmar. You can't take a caster, unfortunately. But you take, or I guess if you take a caster and take Light of Battle, does that count? I would say that counts. You can take a Lord of Light if you have to take Light of Battle though. So you take Volkmar, you take a Light caster with Light of Battle, you take Gotrek, takes like 5 Flagellants, a Steam Tank, Sigmar's Sons, and then you Chevron the Flagellants to spend the rest of your money. I don't know. Maybe you take 6 Flagellants. Oh, Dr. Switchnet going for a Wood Elf themed build, huh? Tree build, perhaps. Maybe. Let's go with this last one. Galbaraz. How about that? We haven't had any vampires today, which is totally fine with me. The No Heck November has not come into play, and, you know, also No Undead November could be a thing. Will we finally see Swift Shivers? That's a good question. Chaos Rohan's pretty fun when it's unexpected. Chaos Knights with the power swords are just so good. Their combat sets are so strong. Da, da, da. Alright. Falcon versus Iphos Wood Elves mirror match for DLC release? Probably, something like that. No Undead November, yeah. Let's just take it to a whole nother level. Just no Undead November. Best of 7. Maybe. Maybe. Excuse me. Alright, alright. Trying the Empire Unbreakable build. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's kind of hilarious, you know, taking the light of battle, because the caster can only really cast it on himself. But, you know, it is mandatory, because it's the only way you can have a caster with Unbreakable. I mean, obviously you can take other spells as well, but you have to take light of battle. Yeah, you can take 2 steam tanks, true, in quick battle. It does make it easier. All right. Yeah, the light of battle to make the steam tanks double unbreakable. There we go. That's a big brain play right there. Big old brain play. Yeah, I saved the Lizardmen versus Wood Elves one. I think for the Skaven, I have Gitmule has sent me some other ones where that build actually worked, and I think I'd rather cast those ones of that build. But yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I did save the. Did I actually save the? Yeah, because it was a good use of the Wildwood Rangers. That's right, I did save that one. Okay. All right, now we just gotta wait for them to get loaded in here. Okay. Sometime we will get loaded in. Hopefully someone didn't tab out and crash. That would be embarrassing. Got some good Crocky G in action today, though. Just a lot of great Lizardman action, to be honest. Look at these. It's the stuff. Anyway. Somebody really like tab out and crash? No, just taking a long time. Okay. We're good. It can happen sometimes. Just be aware when you're loading in the game. Please don't tab out. But let's see. Ooh, what is this? Is this an all-female army? It is. In fact, it is a Glady with a Spell Singer of Life. We've got War Dancers out the wazoo, couple spears, swords in the center. We've got 3 Sisters of Thorn, and that's it. A bunch of elf women. Okay, that's fun. I like that. We've got Morgar here with the, you know, kind of more Traditional builds, some Ungor Spearman Herds, some Ungor Raiders, Brave Shaman Lower Beast, Butchers of Kalkengard, lots of mobility. Oh yeah, Wolf. If Skaven do get Wolf Rats, that'd be huge for them. Be a game changer. I mean, Skaven are already a top tier faction, I think, probably. Like, they're just surprisingly strong. Have a lot of matchups that are even or favorable, but this is fun. I like this. I like this War Dancer army. It's actually a decently strong army too, not like crazy strong, but alright, what do you guys got? Let's see what you got. One person's ready. Let's see it. Come on, get it started. Let's go. Come on. There we go. It started. Sorry, I'm getting a little hungry. I want to go eat. I would like for this battle to happen. I want to see some blood. And we're going to see some arrows of Kurnus at first, making some nice contact on that Brave Shaman Lore of Beast. Decent contact, maybe 10-15% of his HP and damage there. But the ladies are moving forward. The Ungor Raiders are going to be very essential here. If they can operate freely and shoot the War Dancers, that's going to be a giant problem. But the Sisters of Thorn with their physical resistance actually are going to be kind of scary. There's not a lot of magic damage. In fact, no Sons of Goros. There's basically no magic damage from the Beastmen here. And considering that Sisters of Thorn are almost ethereal, like in terms of their physical resistance, they are going to be taking relatively little as long as they don't just get straight up like two hand bone in melee. But anyway, this is going to be decent. The Sword Dancers are now moving into combat to chop up the pasty gores. Not pesty gores, pasty gores. They're pasty white. Anyway, yeah, War Dancers charging in, getting a little bit overblobbed in a couple spots, but a nice terror drop from the dragon just easily shatters the Brave Shaman Lore of Beast there. Manticore Summon had been popped, but that's it. He is done for after that, so only the one spell. And the Manticore is probably going to go immediately after the Sisters of Thorn, I would imagine. No. Must have missed the attack order there. Instead, the dragon drops down on those hounds, try and terrify them away. Over here, these War Dancers had gotten a pretty good engagement. The Butchers of Kalkengard going to come in the side, start to roll them up. Quite literally roll. Come on, a charge roll. No? Okay, that's fine. Fine. Nice Shield of Thorns there from the Sisters of Thorn, though. Using that as much as possible to keep these War Dancers protected from that range fire will be quite essential. Nice terror routes, getting those hounds pushed away easily. And the War Dancers with their anti-infantry will actually blend the hounds quite well. Looks like we're going to have a... Ooh, thought about a Manticore summon from something. It looked like some kind of summon template popping up there. Is that a Cygor summon? I didn't even catch the Cygor summoner. Oh no, spawn, duh. Morgar, obviously, spawn summon. But Butchers are still fighting. They've still got quite a bit of HP, and they're regenerating, blending through some of those War Dancers. That high melee defense means they'll take some damage from the War Dancers. War Dancers have decent stats, but 40 attack. Whereas I think these guys have something like 50 melee defense. It is currently debuffed by the Curse of Onre. Or, sorry, that's their attack. Yeah, 56 melee defense. The War Dancers won't really be making super consistent contact with them, but once the dragon comes over and starts to give that heavy rear charge with charge bonus, that will be able to kill some models. But right now, things are still very, very close as the Wood Elves, the Sisters, kind of push out and try and chase some of these routing units. They don't hit as hard as Wild Riders on the charge. They kind of have to cycle charge a little bit here and utilize the range damage as well to kind of give an extra component to not only leadership, but of course HP damage as well. But yeah, you can see them kind of pressuring. Wild Riders would be able to just wall up on the charge right there, but a nice little counter hound charge there too. Just kind of going after the units that potentially threaten you. Even though just taking a straight up charge like that, you'll take some damage, but the physical resistance of the Sisters is huge, absolutely huge here. I can't emphasize that enough. And look at this over here, these Sword Dancers. This is what I'm talking about with the anti-infantry bonus against hounds. They just absolutely chop them to pieces. And the 46 speed of the War Dancers means that they definitely can't keep up with the Hounds, but they're faster than a lot of other infantry. So yeah, Dactor representing XMT well. Between Bob and Dactor, I think the two of them won like all the games, right? So nice side-shotting breath attack after using that Curse of Onrare there, or sorry, the Brave Anathrema to freeze them. They still have 11 unit models online though, so they also will still be regenerating somewhat. But you can see the Lizardmen forces kind of starting to regroup here and take out those Hounds a little bit. Over here on this side, some Tattered War Dancers somehow get over here and get in on these Ungor Raiders. And again, those Pasty Gores just going to get double stabbed to the face. I mean, it's like the double stab probably has to be the most menacing attack animation that these War Dancers can do, because they stab you in the crotch and the face at the same time. Just absolutely ridiculous. So, yep, Beastmen looking pretty thin on the ground at this point. It's only a matter of time, especially as the Butcher starts to take more and more damage. They're a big power unit kind of left holding up the balance power. Of course, Morgur is as well, and as soon as Blady decides to go eat him, it won't be long for his world. Blady pops up into the air just to make sure to get that charge. Get him pinned with the Sisters of Thorn, and a swing and a miss, but it looks like the Beastmen will throw in the towel anyway. So, yeah, that's a game, and very well played to Dactor, winning with the all Woman, Elf Woman army, Wood Elf Woman army. That beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. 226 kills, 113, 109, 92, 71, 103. Spear Dancers did their job, I guess, of holding off the large units, and yeah, Sisters, 113, 101, 66. Just awesome kill totals. Honeynut brought a build that actually ended up kind of being well countered by this elf melee rush. So fun one. Fun. Yeah, I'm a fan. Absolutely a fan. So thanks guys for coming out. Big congrats to Dactor and Bob for winning all those games. And yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna head out now. So